What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update for you guys, and back on the Raphinha story from yesterday, as Sport are reporting that Tottenham have opened talks with Raphinha's agents after submitting a £70 million proposal to Barcelona for the winger to join the club in the summer. Spurs are trying to get ahead of the competition by starting negotiations early. I kind of fail to believe that we've put in a £70 million proposal this early, or ever, to be honest. But Sport ain't the most reliable of sources, so yeah.
Well, they said Arteta's leaving at the end of the season and joining Barcelona.
Was that them? Was that them?
Sport. So I don't know if you can take much from what they say with the pinch of salt. One thing I would say is I wouldn't be surprised if there are already conversations being had, if we are genuinely interested in him, about maybe what his thoughts are coming into the summer, maybe tentative talks with Barcelona. You know, I think putting feelers out is a normal thing clubs do, but I doubt we've put a 70 million, I think it's euros, but proposal to Barcelona at this point. I would find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, no chance.
But I like him. I like a good player.
Yeah, I think he's a top player. I think he would fit right in at Spurs. I would really love to see him in a Spurs shirt, to be honest. I think he has all the kind of attributes that we want to see from a winger, and he's so good at set pieces as well, isn't he? And he showed real star quality when he was in the Premier League at Leeds. He
did, yeah, and it hasn't worked out so far at Barca, but he still shows glimpses even in the current season. So I think Ange would definitely look at him and think this is a player I can work with for sure. But I don't know about that price. It's expensive.
Nah, 70 million. I don't think we go nowhere near as high as 70 million for someone that's not really getting a look in at Barcelona at the moment. I feel like the links for Raphinha are true, but we only try and look at him at like a cut price deal.
Makes sense.
Let's move on to another player that we're linked with at the moment, and he goes by the name of Riccardo Calafiori from Bologna, as Correa de Bologna publication out in Italy say that Tottenham are keeping tabs on Bologna defender Riccardo Calafiori. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I keep saying this every time we're linked to a defender, but it's clear to see with all the links that we just keep getting linked with different kind of defenders every single week.
And that's positive in my opinion. This one is a left-footed defender, so maybe we're looking for another one on the left side to, you know, be back up to Van der Ven or even compete with Van der Ven. So I don't know much about him. I'm looking at his data. It seems pretty solid. He has good passing metrics, good ball carrying metrics as well. Seems to be the kind of defender we're looking for in terms of someone who's good in possession, likes to be on the front foot as well. So I'm glad that we're keeping tabs on young defenders, so that we're not ever put in the same situation we were this season when it came to defenders being out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if we're looking for another defender and Ashley Phillips to come back in next season, that's going to be 5 really good quality centre-backs. I mean, are all of them going to be able to get the game time?
No, one of them's going to have to go out on loan, and probably going to be Phillips, seeing he's 19. So, I don't know. I mean, unless Phillips has a brilliant second half of the season, which apparently he is, to be fair, with Plymouth so far, it's still up in the air whether he's going to be ready for the first team next season.
Well, keep your eyes peeled for tonight, because Plymouth take on Leeds in the FA Cup. Another way for us to see him back in action. But let's talk about Bardghji once again. And there's a Swedish wonder kid, Bardghji, was talking on whether he could make it a Swedish trio at Spurs of Bardghji, Bergvall and Kulusevski. And he says it's fun to think about. You never know. It could happen. It's hard to say now, but I'm happy for Lucas. He's an incredibly nice guy. I hope everything goes the way he wants it to go. It'll be fun to talk next time we meet with the national team. So this is a player that, again, has got high ceiling. He's got a lot of being spoken about him at the moment. He's also a player that was once on trial at Spurs.
I believe it's pronounced Bardghji, not Bardghji.
I would love a Bardghji.
Exactly. Why not bring him in? Obviously, he's got a Swedish links here now. And as you say, he seems excited by the prospect of linking up with both Bergvall and Kulusevski. Why not making a little trio, get a little Swedish contingent going? Young winger as well, who would fit the system. Seems to be exploding at the moment out in Copenhagen. So he would be a very exciting prospect. He did very well in the Champions League this season. So I, for one, would be very interested about bringing that prospect and maybe having Bergvall and Kulusevski here, you know, help him settle that much quicker. Yeah, and it could be a more interesting one because of Johan Lange as well, having very key contacts in Copenhagen. He was key in bringing Lucas Bergvall with his contacts out in Sweden as well. So I think this is one this actually could happen over the summer.
But let's talk about Lucas Bergvall now, because there's been some comments via Alistair Gold from Peter Kisvaludi, who is the Garden's sporting coordinator. And he says some really interesting comments here. And he says, Laporta saying that Tottenham were offering more money and that's why Bergvall picked Tottenham. That's not true. It's the feeling. I know that Lucas has always dreamed about playing in the Premier League. I know that was still the case because I spoke to him before he went to London and he said, Peter, you know my dream is to play in the Premier League, and his dream is now coming true. He is a fantastic person. His personality is really fantastic. He is open-minded and he has a warm heart, but he goes on the pitch, he's a winner. He has that winning mentality. Best of him is his technique. His technique is 5 out of 5 stars. His playing intelligence is fantastic. He's now growing a lot. He's 1.87 meters tall. And muscles are starting to come now, and I think that gives you 2 years. He's going to be a top player in Europe, absolutely. His best position is number 8. He's a box-to-box player, running into the box and really good at playing the ball between the lines. He's a little copy of Frankie de Jong. He's really fast with the ball, really good with the ball, and a fantastic dribbler. And I think that the coach at Tottenham, when he spoke to Lucas, told him, I love young, talented players, and if you work hard here, I'll give you the chance to play in the first team. So I think that's really important when the head coach says to an 18-year-old boy, I think that's really, really good sign and an important thing to give the player, that warm feeling they are going to take care of you. So really nice comments there.
Yeah, really great. And what I like about what you're saying is, you know, how great his technique is. And that's sometimes the hardest part. Obviously, physicality always comes with a young player when they grow up. But like technique, to have such great technique at 18 years of age, you said, you know, 5 out of 5 stars, you know, that shows a lot of natural talent that he has. And once he has that training from Spurs, hopefully becomes that star. I don't know if you saw, there was this video circulated of him for his youth side when he was 13 playing against PSG, like doing like this rousing team talk before they went and beat PSG for playing for the youth team of a Swedish team.
He was like 13.
Yeah, 13. But that really shows, like, even at such a young age, like this leadership ability, ability to motivate and rouse his teammates, even at such a young age. It was really interesting to see, like, a little insight into that. And clearly, his personality, everyone talks about how amazing it is. You even saw that little interaction with Ange. He seems to have something about him as well, personality wise. So it's super exciting signing, and obviously the little clips about him are in terms of his ability, what I've seen from his time out in Sweden, he looks like a player who's got unbelievable ability in those tight spaces, that dribbling ability. He's quite tall for a centre mid as well. He's quite strong, so feels like he's only going to get better, and it's really, really, really exciting.
Yeah, I love that clip. He was like, had his team round in the huddle, he had his captain's armband on, and he was like, what? You think we've come to Madrid here to lose? You think we've just come to take part? We're coming here for the win. I was loving it. It was brilliant.
And he said, look, they're just a name. That's what he said. They're just a name. And I love that mentality.
Yeah. And finally, let's talk about Daniel Levy, because the former Manchester United CEO David Gill had some words to say about Daniel Levy being very difficult to work with. And he says, I think he protects his club. I respect him and I think he's good. What he has done with the stadium is fantastic. He can do himself no favours, though. An example is when we signed Dimitar Berbatov. We had him all summer and ended up getting him right at the death. But he never had a replacement. Fraser Campbell was due to go on loan at Bolton, and Sir Alex had to call him and tell him he was going to Tottenham. Daniel probably got another million or two out of us, but that deal could have been done very much earlier in the summer, and he even could have got a replacement through the door before getting Fraser Campbell in. And I'm sorry to take you back to that summer, because it was a very painful summer of selling Dimitar Berbatov on deadline day and bringing Fraser Campbell in. But that's just Daniel Levy in a nutshell, isn't it?
The disrespect to Pavlyuchenko. You don't call him as real good a rough praise from a Berbatov. Look, this is pretty much what we've been saying about Levy for a while. And to be fair, credit where credit's due, these things do seem to be changing. So I don't want to harp on his previous mistakes and previous strategy of going about the transfer window. But 100%, this is something that we've criticised Daniel Levy for a long time. You know, his willingness to kind of push the limit in terms of getting deals down to the wire and then leaving us short at the end of the window just for the sake of $1 million or $2 million, you know, squeezing every penny out of a deal to the detriment of our footballing side. And that was definitely a massive criticism we've had. But that does seem to be something that's hopefully changing. In recent evidence, that does seem to be changing. And I think that what David Gill said about Levy at the beginning is absolutely right. You know, I do think he wants what's best for the club in terms of on the business side. Like, he wants what's good for the future of the club, and he has done a great job with the stadium. That's all very, very much true. But look, that is going back to 2008. I do like to think that Levy has changed a bit, especially in the last year or so, compared to that Daniel Levy there.
Yeah, look, we're going to need to see a much bigger sample size than just the last year or so, because I think Levy has been taking the club in the right direction, but I don't think you just look at the last 5-6 years, the way this club has been run, it's been nothing short of a joke, to be honest. But finally, right now, as I'm sitting here in 2024, it does look like we are going in the right direction now, but you never know what's around the corner with Daniel Levy. That's the truth.
Yeah, but I'm just talking purely about his attitudes to the transfer market. He doesn't seem to be waiting till the final minute. I think he realize, hopefully he's realizing like these things are important. The timing is important, and getting replacements in, all these different things. Like, these are very crucial to the footballing side, and having all these deals up in the air for the whole window and cause uncertainty, and it doesn't allow you that time to get a replacement. So let's hope these are things he's learned from.
Let's hope so. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we brought to you today. Has Levy changed? Let us know in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.